favorite thing of GumGum is this no-blame culture that we have. One of our values is being agile. And when you've been agile or you try to move fast, you might make some mistakes. And we have a culture here where people don't blame anyone for making those mistakes. And instead of that, they just try to find out how can we create a system that will avoid this mistake in future. It's really an amazing journey. I mean, to take a company from 5 people to 500 people is a fascinating journey. I've seen GumGum through all these different stages because I've been there for pretty much day one. It's just phenomenal how GumGum adapted at each stage and how people were smart enough to do different things at each stage. Culture decides how a person is going to interact with other people and how that person's journey in GumGum is going to get shaped, whether that person's ideas will be well received by people or not, no matter how crazy they are. How other people perceive that work is what culture decides. And that is why culture is extremely important. Because whatever you do at GumGum, how other people perceive you gets decided by the culture. No matter what we're trying to do, we always try to be thoughtful, whether it could be giving someone promotion, giving someone a critical feedback. We always think twice. We always figure out what is this person going to think about, like when we deliver that feedback to them. Agility means that we're trying to move fast, and we have to be thoughtful while we're moving fast. People are considerate about each other's mistakes while moving fast. People are careful about not hurting people. So I think that's what they're careful about, and that's how they incorporate it every day. I'm proudest about our people and our culture because it's not easy to maintain that culture when you grow from 5 to 500. Maybe it's easy to do in 5, maybe in 50, but past 50, I think maintaining the same culture becomes more and more difficult. Communication becomes more and more difficult. And I'm proud that we're still maintaining that culture.
So if I were to describe GumGum, I love GumGum, but I think what I really enjoy about GumGum is the leadership's genuine interest in caring for its employees, and I think that's what's kept me here for the last 4.5 years.
Everything you're trying to accomplish, everyone is very willing and proactive in trying to support. If people make mistakes, that's something that's really built into our culture to be able to support. And just in general, I've never felt like there's been a floor falling out underneath me at GumGum. I've really felt that support structure, both within my teammates, within my peers, within teams that I'm integrating with, but also within the leadership as well. Agility and grit is like a throughput metric, and that's something that's really valuable to me personally. Where you're able to produce things quickly and really work through problems, that's really satisfying to me. But I think the thoughtfulness is the ability to think beyond that. I think that's something that distinguishes GumGum from other companies in similar situations where we approach problems in a way that's built a little more to last. Like we have commits from our CTO still that are 11 years old. And I think the reason we have that isn't because we're afraid to refactor code or because that's just the way things are, but it's because things were built in thoughtful ways. We take a little bit of time to save us time in the long run. And I think that's a really important value that sometimes getting lost in this agility and grit culture. If you don't include that thoughtfulness, you're really kind of starting to build a company culture that's not as long-term focused potentially.
The culture has evolved because we've grown so rapidly, it feels. When I joined, I think we were probably a little less than 200 team members, and now we're nearing 500. So I think the culture evolves as you scale, as you go virtual, as you go global. But I think we've still kept that sense of authenticity. I think Phil bleeds authenticity, bringing your authentic self to work, which I really appreciate. So you really bring your whole self. You get to make friends, you get to build really meaningful relationships, you get to do really exciting work. And there's never a boring day at GumGum. I think that's part of the culture. I would define it as really thoughtful, people care about each other, and everyone respects each other. That's really important.
GumGum's culture is very people-centric focused. We strive to be a very inclusive place to work at. We like to be engaged, we like to be connected, and we like to have fun. We have many programs for all types of people. We have Life Skills for Gummies, Leadership Bites, we have Women of GumGum, Parents of GumGum, Dogs of GumGum, and many more programs. We are currently hiring a ton right now for a variety of different teams. If you're interested, I encourage you to check out our career site and come join us.
I don't know, the culture is always changing, right? And culture is hard to define because it's just, when you're part of a culture, it's harder to see what that culture is in a way until you get out of the culture. But it's always been an enjoyable place to work and a place where people love what they do. One of my favorite parts that I think is unique to our culture is we like to let people take chances and try to do great things. And we don't punish people if they make a mistake, we just try to learn from that. And so I think that leads to more innovation and a happier work environment.
I found the opportunity of joining GumGum super interesting just because in this time and moment, I think GumGum is working on something that's gonna shift the entire industry when it comes to data privacy, especially when it comes to advertising. I myself was not familiar with programmatic digital media. I did not have a background in this industry, and I found it so great to know that my leaders were so enthusiastic about teaching me and helping me grow that I just took the gamble on saying, let's do it. And it's been a great decision ever since I jumped on board. As a whole, the company culture is so great. And it's very cliche for a lot of people to say, oh, you know, we treat each other like family. No, I think truly that this is actually a place where I know feels like home, and I feel as if the culture is its employees. And it's no longer that you're a number, but we actually are family. Everything I do with my leaders, I never feel as if my leaders are superior or above me. I feel like they are equal with me. And when it comes to learning, we're both learning together. There is no such thing as a dumb question. The autonomy, the leadership, everything. I cannot complain about a single thing about GumGum.
So GumGum has a very collaborative culture. You know, everyone's very good at their own job individually, but you know, GumGum is very, very good, at least you know, the higher level of management, of making us work together, making us play together, which really I think helps bring out the best of what you can do. I think the hackathon really exemplified how GumGum is able to have us interact and collaborate, because you're working with people from across the whole company. Because of that experience, you're better able to understand what other people are doing, so that helps you produce more useful stuff, at least if you're like an NLP scientist like I am. GumGum sort of, matched some of the keywords I was looking for, but I wasn't really considering it that hard until I scrolled down and saw dog-friendly office. And I mean, that just sort of stuck out to me because I have a dog, I really like him, but after I got hooked in by that, I started reading more about it. I started looking more into GumGum as a whole, like the other people who are working there. I discovered something, because I didn't know anything about ad tech before I got here, but how GumGum is really focusing on doing contextual data to target ads versus behavioral data. Personally uncomfortable with how much data is being used out there by other companies to place ads to track us on the internet. And the fact that GumGum is, using contextual data, this alternative to behavioral data, is a nice moral win. So it's one thing that I really liked about GumGum and what made me sort of pursue the interview process, etc.
What's magical for me is that you spend a lot of time trying to create a culture and go into it with, what do you want your culture to be? What do you want your culture to represent? And you think it's more of this formulaic approach, which yes, you have to be conscious of being thoughtful around what and how your team and you want to show up and put all of your energy into what and to who and with who and for what. But at the end of the day, when you really allow your team and the people that are part of this mission to have a voice and you listen, the culture comes to life from that. Our culture is one that's always changing, always learning, and one that we can always do better for ourselves, for our clients, for the world. And it's bringing in those fresh voices combined with the ones that have been evolving or maturing or changing in their own ways, and bringing those sensibilities to one place with purpose and drive. It provides a culture that's never stale and that will always evolve. And I feel that one is going to be a culture that's always at the forefront of where we believe in our values as individuals that have now come together as a team. We want the world to move in. And so I think it's just a progressive, ever-changing, very unique culture that I'm excited to see how it evolves, because I'm going to help evolve it with everyone around me. We're underestimated. I think our product, our tech, our mission, what we believe in, and who we are as an individual and individuals, and then as a team culturally, I don't think they're ready for who we are. And I think we've been underestimated in what we can deliver and drive. And I think everyone's really about to see what we've been spending a lot of time and commitment and passion building. And I'm excited to watch us blow the lid off of it.